What do we think, Brad?
When we moved at Lincoln, they used to do this Jack Daniels sauce.
Level 1 powerboat and they guys now do it.
niin. Älä tiputa maa. Muista siinä on se lanka. On vähän jo kuivaa.
originality, of more complete harmony, of more obvious and striking unity. And it was written by a man called Edmonds, but I don't know of him. Now, I'd tell you a little history first to start off with. In 932, King Athelstan, who was King of England at that time, built a minster here for the monks. The bishop at that time was called William Warrelost, and he was the nephew of William the Conqueror. In 1133, the cathedral was rebuilt and in the Romanesque style, but in 1258, Salisbury Cathedral was completed. Have any of you been to Salisbury Cathedral? It's beautiful, isn't it? A wonderful cathedral. And all the bishops in England were invited to the consecration of Salisbury Cathedral in 1258, including the Bishop of Exeter at that time. He was called Bishop Bronscombe. And he came back to Exeter and he was full of enthusiasm. He said, Salisbury Cathedral is magnificent and we must have it here. So this was altered and rebuilt in the decorated Gothic style. So this is decorated Gothic. And it's interesting because all these things going along the roof there are called bosses, and they are primarily structural. So what you see is only part of the keystone because it goes up beyond. It's like a pencil with a rubber on the end. We see the rubber and the pencil goes on up and supports the roof, which is above this, because you don't see the outside roof, of course, from here. So it's like a series of pencils going all the way along, and they are all, in fact, although they look lovely, they are for sheer structural purposes. The height of the roof is 6 to 6 feet, and it's 300 feet from here right down to the other end of the cathedral. Unfortunately, it's a lovely organ, but the organ does block the view. You have a better view if the organ wasn't placed in that position. So, if you like to look round and have a look at this window here, this is called the Great West Window, and the sun, when the sun sets, it sets behind this window, of course, and it looks beautiful, shining through that glass. It really looks magnificent. But it was, in fact, destroyed during the war, but a copy was kept of it, and this was being rebuilt, that window has been rebuilt since the war. Now, on that window is a series of people who were associated with the cathedral over the years. And if you'll see on the left, that is the King Athelstan, who was king at the very early, it was in the 1300s. Then then Bishop Leofric, Bishop Stapleton, then King Edward the Confessor, and in the middle is St. Peter, who is holding keys, not of the cathedral, but in fact the keys of heaven. But in fact, it shows silver when the moon is full, and when the moon is invisible, it is black. You can just see the edge of the silver, I think, at the top right of it. And the fleur-de-lis is the sun. So the moon revolves on its own axis and shows silver when the moon is full and black when the moon is invisible. And the next circle is the fleur-de-lis, the sun pointing outwards to the hour of the day, you can see just past 11, and inwards to the age of the moon. Now, down the bottom there is a Latin motto which says, "The hours pass and are reckoned to our account." And the dragon. So, but this one, in fact, has got 3 dragons on it. Here's St. George. There's one dragon, another dragon, and there's another one. I didn't know that St. George met 3 dragons, but... Now, this is the Lady Chapel, and it is dedicated to Mary, the Mother of Jesus. This window here was blown out by bombs, and it was all broken. So it was rebuilt at the end of the war. And the stained glass was the work of a lady called Marian Grant, and it's very, very unusual for a lady to make stained glass. fact, you know, as far as we know, she's the only one in this country who makes those glass. So this is, it's depicting the triumph of good over evil, and is a tribute to women. So the windows from left to right, there on the left is Eve and the serpent, and then the Annunciation. And he had a habit of shutting his eyes when he was sitting on the bench and sentencing people. And because he was always sitting with his eyes closed, the sculptor who did this did his eyes open, so he's got his eyes open forevermore as a punishment.
That is very unusual. And the wife.
You can see their shoes, you see by her costume,
Oh, yes,
shoe on the
yes.
ruff. And of course it was the custom in those days very often to have a skull on the
Yeah.
Why was the skull there, do you think?
That I have yet to find out, but it was a custom, you know.
I know we were in Rome 4 weeks ago, and they always show a little skeleton somewhere at the
Yes.
bottom. And the talk was that it shows you that death is not far away. It's like you know, your time might come, this sort of thing.
Mine's pretty close, I
There's
think.
always a little skeleton somewhere.
Yes, right. Yeah. Now these two here, this is a bishop who did a great deal for the people. Now if you come up here, look, and have a look. Yes, these are late 1800s, you see, but in fact these were always here. These set of misericords.
Is there a story on each one? Because they're all different.
Yeah, yes, and in fact they got a book at the end. And it's got a book with photographs of everyone. Everyone is. And it's got to be slightly somewhat strange feat from a living model. But the first specimen was presented to Henry. There are no nails, no screws, and the major construction cost £4. In 1688, William of Orange sat on the throne. It was removed early in 1941 for the duration of the war to a place called Mamhead outside Exeter, about 8 miles outside Exeter. And you can imagine taking that to pieces, can't you? When they returned it, the cupboard where they kept the plans for it in the cathedral, the plans were nibbled by insects and probably mice as well. And so they had to put it up not knowing what part was going where, but they did it successfully, as you can see. Right up the very top, there is a statue that is meant to represent St. Peter, who is the patron saint of the cathedral. But in fact, there's a copy of the bishop who was here at the turn of the century.
Now 0800 074 2736. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Chuck him in. Chuck him in. Boy, Arch, here's your shoes.
Be cheaper for you to just buy a set, yeah.
Right there.
Sorry?
Right there.
We're going to look at is Bath Abbey, and this is the third abbey on this site. In the first one, in the year AD 973, King Edgar was crowned the first king of all England. This one dates from. On your right is the Guildhall, which was built in 1776. This building used to house the magistrates' courts, which is why we still have the statue of Our Lady of Justice. Now there's two things wrong with her, and your quiz for today is to tell me what's wrong with her. Good, she's not blindfolded. Justice should always be blindfolded, but as you appreciate, she still has to keep an eye on Geoffrey Archer. The other thing is the sword should point straight up, whereas hers is resting at her side on the brook because of horse and farm that don't like it upwards. She's also been stabbed in the back. Anyway, as you can all see, she's giving nothing away, but she's still not amused. Where a young Charles Dickens stayed in the 1830s, and where he met a man called Moses Pickwick, who ran a stagecoach company between London and Bath. The inspiration, of course, for the Pickwick Theatre. Where we reflection of Frank Lightfield's on board in the centre. Now his house is on your right, it's the one with the flagpole there, so come and have your photograph taken later to show the readies when you get home. Got to turn the mic off now, it's a noise sensitive end. If you hadn't had a dead dog carried out. Wet t-shirt, I should nip in there because you never know your luck. Any fellas like the idea of his house. Now I bet you're all delighted to hear one of those is a complete house that was put up for sale last year for just over £4 million, which is an awful lot of Australian dollars. On your left is one of our lovely gardens, when you can nip down into town with his credit cards and have a nice time in the shops. Well worth thinking about. You can actually see the river on the other side. Yes. You can take all your mates, can't you? Oh, been there, seen that, got the t-shirt. These are the only man-made objects which can be seen from outer space. Now the church with a steeple in front there, that is St Swithin's Church, and it's where the Reverend Austin is buried, Jane Austen's father, but also where he got married. Anyway, see how narrow the shops are here.